Hello, I am Centimus Prime, and here I will be reviewing the Bandai high-grade Gundam Dynames. And so, starting off, we will be taking a look at the kit itself, and taking a closer look at them details. So, of course, we will be starting off with the head. The head does look pretty good. It does have your details that it does have some of those details that you would associate with your typical Gundam design. You do have like the white mouth plate, we got the piercing eyes, surrounded by a little bit of the black background there, looking pretty good. You got your V shaped crest thing on the forehead. Looking pretty good. It has a little bit of green on the sides. Yeah, not looking too bad. Moving down to the torso, you do have some nice details going on here in the torso. We got these sort of sides of the chest here with these sort of yellow vents here, and we also have these small little yellow fin got these little extra sort of spike details here, I guess. So extra little fin details, which are on these little hinges, so you can flip them down to see what he looks like without those there. It still looks pretty neat, even with these yellow fin things down. Very cool. We got some nice details going on in the chest. Unfortunately, the gray that you see here on the chest are stickers, but not only that, they're folded stickers, which does look a little bit unfortunate. But from a lot of angles, it really doesn't look all that bad. But all these gray details here are in fact stickers. But not only that, folding stickers, which are pretty difficult to apply without making them look wrinkled up and all that. But hey, from most angles and from a certain short distance, it does seem a-okay. But there is something else, because if we remove this little green piece, we do have what appears to be this sort of a core sort of thing going on here. So this is interesting to me, because there's so they put a little so they have this little sort of clear lens piece here for the chest, but they also put a black sticker. But there is also a black sticker behind it, so that it does look pretty neat. Do like the look of that. Unfortunately, most of this is covered up by this green part, so you can't really see that. But hey, even with the green part on, that still looks pretty nice. Very cool. Moving on to the arms. The arms are looking very Gundam-like. Yeah, very nice. Very nice. You got your They do look very much like arms that you would see on a Gundam kit. Very nice. You got your white armor here, but you also got these like large green shoulder pad. Got these larger green shoulder pads with these little gray assemblies here on top of them, and we'll get to that later. But for now, the arms do look pretty nice. Down here we do have some armor here in front of the legs. And yeah, like the thighs, they do look a-okay. Not a whole lot going on the thighs, aside from, hey, we got like extra stickers going on here to provide a little bit of a lavender, like tertiary color, yeah. And you also get a tiny bit of that lavender here, right there in the sides of the torso. And you also get them, and if you turn around, you also get that little bit of lavender here on the back of the arms. Speaking of the back, here we do have a look at the Gundam from the back. And yeah, like for the most part, it is like it has a pretty clean profile. Well, aside from the obvious like jet thruster things. You got like these like sort of thruster assembly pieces. Which do look pretty neat, and I'll go more in detail with these a little bit later. But yeah, like for the back, we also get like these sort of extra details and things going on right here. Got like this white, these like white details here, which do look pretty neat. Very nice. And also something else, the arms also does that same thing that the chest does, but this time they don't cover it up. So at least you get a little bit of that extra detail. So that's nice. And so moving down to like the lower legs, you do got like these green armor, like these like armor green knee pad sort of things with some extra little details provided by stickers, these tiny squares, and these gray ribbons of stickers around the edges. Very nice. And if we move down, we do have a little bit more of that lavender popping through via utilizing stickers. And moving down with that, we do have like these sort of ankle guard things. The back of the knees do seem pretty nice. Even like the inclusion of the little like green part in there definitely adds that little pop of that green color in the back. Very nice. And yeah, we even do have like the foot design. And yeah, it's an alright foot design. Very neat. Here's the foot details on the underside. Even do get a good bit of details in here. Very nice. Yeah, like despite the fact that I am really unfamiliar with this design because I haven't, watched like the anime or anything. Because like this like design is like very unfamiliar to me, but despite that, I still think this still looks pretty good. Still has like a really neat design. Definitely does differentiate the Gundam. Like definitely does have a very like varying design compared to like your very like standard RX 78 Gundam. You're like the Gundam that you would typically think of. But yeah, like it does look pretty good. Do like the extra do like the extra pops of red and yellow. Yeah, and even like the lavender. That is like very lightly sprinkled throughout the limbs, and does have a okay color scheme. The butt thruster things are a little bit weird, but they do provide a little bit of extra like posability option, so there is that at least. So moving on to articulation, the head is technically on a double ball joint, but the thing is the ball joint connected to the torso only really does a back and forth motion at the base of the neck. It's this neck here connected to the head is where we get our extra movement from. I'm just going to hinge these down to show you more of the articulation. So the head can tilt side to side a good bit. It can move up and down, of course. You can rotate. Rotating it can be a little bit tricky due to how everything collides. But yeah, it does go down a whole. Yeah, his head can like tilt down a whole lot, which is neat. Yeah, like good articulation in the head. The shoulders are actually really interesting because starting off you do have like your shoulder pad which can move up and down, and you also have your very standard universal joint. Your arm joint can move out to about that far, and of course it can rotate. But there's an extra little joint here in this green part that allows for that extra little bit of motion. Allows for that, yeah, you can see that joint here in action. So it does provide extra movement in the arm. But that's not what impresses me the most about the shoulders. Because this kit has a little bit of a torso integrated butterfly joints. Bam. That honestly looks really cool. It doesn't go all that far, but it does go far enough so that you can definitely utilize it in a lot of varying ways. And it just like really looks satisfying using it. Like that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Very nice. Do like that. Of course, we've talked about that. He does have a 360 bicep rotation. He does have a single joint. He does have a single joint at the elbow, which can bend 90 degrees. And something cool about the elbow is that the lavender you see on the arms, unlike the rest of the figure, which are stickers, these are actually like little silicone rubbery pieces, which actually integrate into the arm, and thus giving it this nice extra like detailed look. Because you can see how this works. Like it's connected to like the bicep here, but this other end basically just slides into there, and you can even see it going on in there. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I do like that. The wrist is on a ball joint, so you do have that range in the ball joint, and they can rotate and all that. But there's also an extra joint here which can provide extra like wrist movement, which that is like pretty neat. That's pretty cool. He does have a very nice unhindered 360 waist rotation, but he also has a joint that can allow him to arch his back a little bit, and also does a little bit of an ab crunch. So he definitely has at least some torso articulation, which is nice. Though using it does make some weird gaps in the torso, so you can like push that down if you're not using it. So there is that. These green hip skirt things are on little ball joints, and you can individually articulate those. Moving to the back thruster things, they can rotate up and down, but they are on ball joints, and if you rotate them out, spread them apart, not enough to take them off, but enough to utilize the ball joint, you can definitely utilize those ball joints in various different poses. So yeah, the thruster things are on ball joints, but you can of course push those in, lock those in together so that they only do up and down, which is fine. Very good. The hips are on ball joints, but so like the hips situation is kind of weird, because while you do have a ball joint here and here at each leg, there's also a third ball joint here in the lower torso, which means that you can like shift the hips from side to side to provide extra little like poses with the hips, which is interesting. It is yeah, like pretty interesting. Not quite sure how useful this is, but yeah, this is more of that very much appreciated extra articulation. And then we get to the hips. So the hips are on a ball joint, but they're connected in a way that doesn't allow for a whole lot of articulation. Because it is connecting the hip, because it is connected to the hip like this way, and there is like a lot of stuff on top of the ball joint. Unfortunately, you can't really spread that much. Like, this is pretty much the limit of your like spread. And of course, moving the hips back is also a little bit hindered by the butt thruster things. But at least he still has a decent kick forward. They can go forward a decent amount with the hip skirts moving out of the way and all. But like as far as a thigh swivel goes, he really doesn't have a thigh swivel aside from what the ball joint can provide, which is kind of sad. But oh well. The knees are on a double bend. There is a double bend at the knees, which can provide a great range of motion. They can they can bend in that far. Yeah, very nice. Okay, and there's also like these little these like front little ankle guard things can hinge up a little bit to provide extra freedom for the ankle joints, which is pretty interesting because the ankle joints are on a hinge and a ball joint. So like there's a hinge in the ankle. So like there's a hinge connected to the leg which can hinge back and forth. But there's also a ball joint which can easily allow for rotation, ankle tilts, extra forward and back. All that good stuff. So yes, like this is like and from what I realized, this is a reissue of a pretty old kit designed back in 2007, or at least released back in 2007. This is a pretty, I did not realize like how old like this like particular kit is. And for that time, this kit looks really amazing and has like nice highly detailed, and has pretty great articulation for that time. But of course, this compared to like more modern Gundam model kits and stuff, it still is. Apparently, apparently outdated compared to more modern Gundam kits. But hey, like this guy's articulation is really nothing to scoff at either. That's pretty sick. And so as for features and accessories, we can quickly touch on the feature on his head. So his visor thing, his little head visor can shift down to reveal this apparently this is a camera, which I'm not quite sure why you would need a camera, unless the camera can also has a long range zoom thing, a zoom feature, which could be more effective than just the Gundam's eyes. I'm not exactly sure what. I initially thought that this was some sort of forehead laser or something, but no. Apparently it's a camera, from what I've heard. And even then you can. It doesn't, even when you try to put it back in, it doesn't really fully hide away. So there's really so you can still quite clearly see that camera in there. But still doesn't look too bad. It still looks pretty good. And as for accessories, he does have quite a few. So starting off, he has a couple of these. He has these little armor panel things, and what you do with these is you plug them onto the shoulders right here, and he basically has which definitely does add to the armored look of this kit. And yeah, they look pretty neat. They do also provide extra they do also provide for extra posability options. They can hinge in and out significantly, and you can also rotate them on the like connector port. But you can also remove these and rotate these gray pieces down on these sides. So what you can do is basically slide these down on the little grooves. And so you slide those down and provide a whole new look, and provide extra like a display options. And I will be real with you. I actually do kind of like how this looks. Like the extra armor on the back of the arms. Definitely, I definitely do think this helps. This adds to the silhouette, to the overall silhouette of this kit, and it honestly does look pretty cool. But we're not done there, because we do have a pair of these even larger armor panel things, which are quite interesting. So what you do with these is you can basically plug these in on the shoulders, just like we did with the other parts. Only this time they're much larger and more, and provide even more like overall coverage for the kit, for the Gundam. Now I will say, while this is a little bit over the top, I still do think this looks pretty sick. Yeah, very, very cool. It is a little bit more over the top compared to the other little, like, to the smaller panels, but it still looks pretty sick. And yeah, it even integrates itself with the smaller panels just fine. Pretty cool. But these like larger armor panel things do have like separate articulation. So there's two of these sort of hinge things, so you can so if you want, you can add like extra, so you can like make this look however you please. You can either like fold these up and allow for more, it'll allow you to see the kit a good bit more, or you can just like splay them out and provide some extra more coverage, like these sort of like shoulder mounted like riot shields almost. Got these like sort of like wing shield things. It definitely does give it a good an interesting look. Very neat. But there's also something else you can do with this. And for this, all we need to do is pull this assembly out a little bit and rotate it forward. And we do the same for the other side. And here we have this sort of like riot shield thing going on. Got this sort of like riot shield thing going on here. So like how this is you basically do it like this, where where you basically have these like sort of side wing armor armor panel things fold in front of the Gundam to form this sort of like a armored like riot shield thing, which does look alright. It kind of makes it look like some sort of like big green like oversized poncho almost. Well, like it does look pretty neat. It does seem to have pretty good coverage over the figure, especially from the front. Well, except for the head and the crotch, the things that you would want to like block with a shield. Like the sensitive areas you'd want to block with a shield, but never mind that. It's still a pretty cool feature, I guess. Still a pretty neat feature. And of course, we can rotate those back. They do lock in place, which is really cool. Very nice. For other accessories, we do have just one switchable hand. This splayed open hand. And so this hand is really only for this side, so we can pull this hand off and replace it with this hand. No, this is the only one we have. You don't get a splayed open hand for the right hand, just the left. But what you do get is this guy's weapon, which is a full-blown sniper rifle. And I will say the sniper rifle looks pretty good. Looks very nice. I do like the extra little like greebly details on it. The barrel looks a-okay, and there's even like a little sticker here on the scope. Yeah, very very neat. Very nice. And let's like remove these like larger panels so I can properly show you how, so I can have room to like show you how this sniper integrates in the kit. And so to integrate the to make him hold the sniper, it's pretty easy. You just slide it in his hand. And the end of the sniper has this little tab which can just sit in the forearm to provide a more solid, a more secure a connection with the hand, a more secure like grip. Yeah, very nice, very very cool, very nice, very cool. You can of course pose around with that. You can definitely make that look really nice. Absolutely looking really good. Very nice. The gun also has this sort of extra flip out handle, which if you want, you can like pose around and play around with that. It has no grip. It's just there really. But yeah, it has a pretty good. It has a pretty good sniper rifle accessory. Do think this looks pretty cool. But of course we're not quite done there yet, because this gun has another cool feature, and to that is you can remove this piece and swap it out with this. So you can plug this in, and there you have your little tripod stands for your sniper rifle, so you can do even more cool sniper rifle poses, which just looks really cool. I don't quite get why these are in different colors, despite the fact that these are meant to be the same thing. I don't know. it's kind of weird, but hey, still looks pretty sick regardless. Still looks pretty cool regardless. And with that, we just about covered everything. I mean, there are like these sort of like joint pieces, but I assume those are probably spares. I assume those probably spares are like, meant to put them like somewhere. I don't know. It comes with those. Not entirely sure why. But yeah, like it looks pretty good. Looks real nice. Oh, there is one more feature I almost forgot to mention. And that is, if you look at the back thrusters right here, let's quickly just switch the hand back. So if you look at the back thrusters, you have these little like white parts that add a little bit of extra detail and extra pop of white in this area. These parts are actually not just there for looks. These parts can actually be removed and attached to either his hands. And I believe what these are a lot of Gundam design, a lot of like Gundam, like a lot of these like Gundam like mobile suits have like these sort of kind of lightsaber, but really not. They call them beam sabers, but like you would more so associate it with lightsabers. They're basically like lightsaber weapons. Only for some odd reason, this kit includes beam saber hilts, but not a actual beam saber. But not like the actual beam saber itself. He has two of them, and he can dual wield them. It's just that, like, it's just that, like, you can't really do much with it, unless you have, like, the actual beam sabers that are meant to go on here. And as I realized, is going to be a little bit more challenging to find, because I tried putting in the beam saber I got, which was included in another Gundam kit. I tried attaching in a non-included beam saber, and it absolutely does not fit. It needs a more specific connection. It needs a more specific type of like beam saber like blade piece, which is kind of unfortunate that I'm not able to like have this guy have the beam sabers. But hey, you can still hold them, and hey, and also still provide some nice little details, even though they are pretty much useless. Still not quite useless, because they still do look pretty good where they are. So that's good at least. And with that, we can now move on to size comparison. And he's really not all that large. Like, here he is next to my Centimus Prime. So he's really not all that large. If we bring a crosscut here, we can see that he is just about the size of like your, like height-wise, he is just about the size of your like average modern like deluxe transformer. Just a bit thinner. So it's like not quite that large, but he still like highly detailed and still has a great range of posability. A pretty good range of posability. Yeah, like he looks pretty solid. very nice. Does have does have a decent range of accessories. He does have a rather nice range of posability. His rifle weapon is pretty cool. They're like the overall look, despite not like knowing this design nor like the anime it's from. Like I still think he looks pretty still think he looks pretty good. Pretty nice. Definitely think this is a pretty cool like Gundam design. And he was also pretty fun to put together, so there is that. Yeah, like, again, like, I don't have, like, a whole lot more to say about this kit, aside from, I think it looks pretty cool. I think he's pretty cool. Don't really know where he's from, but yeah, he's pretty cool. Do think this one was, pretty neat, overall. And with that, I think that'll be it for this review. If you enjoyed this video, consider to like and subscribe, and maybe even comment if you want. And of course, I will be posting again sooner or later.